On our birthday, my parents gave my twin brother everything and me a bill for $50,000. Then my mother said, "You owe us money, and we're waiting for it." I smiled, stood up, and calmly handed them a document about the sale of their house. My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 26 years old, and today is my birthday. Well, our birthday. I have a twin brother, Daniel, and if you haven't already guessed, he's the golden child. He's the charming, athletic, effortlessly perfect one. The one my parents adore. If Daniel failed a test, Dad would shrug and say, "Not everyone's meant to be a genius." If I aced an exam, well, you're a girl. Studying comes easier to you. If he broke something, an accident. If I did it, Olivia, you need to be more responsible. I learned early that everything in this family revolved around him. When we both got into college, my parents covered his tuition in full. I got, "You're smart, Olivia. You'll figure something out." I worked late shifts, took weekend jobs, lived off instant noodles just to keep myself afloat. Daniel? He partied, drove around in cars my parents bought him, and took vacations I could never afford. But today, I told myself I wouldn't get angry. Today is my day too. Or so I thought. Happy birthday, Danny. The house was decorated, the dining table packed with food, and the living room buzzing with relatives. Daniel was in the center of it all, tearing into gift after gift, a brand new PlayStation, designer sneakers, a thick envelope I already knew was stuffed with cash. Mom kissed his cheek. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart." Dad clapped his back. "You work hard, kid. You deserve it." Daniel grinned. "Thanks, guys. You're the best." I exhaled slowly. Maybe they were just saving mine for last. Finally, Mom turned to me. "And we didn't forget about you, Liv." I sat up a little straighter. "Here it comes." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. I took it, slid my finger along the edge, and pulled out the single sheet of paper inside. Balance due, $50,000. Payable to Mom and Dad. We expect full payment soon. I stared at it. I read it again. And then I looked up. "What is this?" Dad leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "You're an adult, Olivia. You've lived here for free for years. Ate our food. Used our electricity. College wasn't cheap." Mom gave me a patient smile. "It's only fair, honey. You have a good job now. You can afford it." Daniel snorted. "It's not like you have a family to support or anything." I glanced at him. At the pile of gifts sitting in front of him. I inhaled deeply, exhaled even slower. My heartbeat steadied. Everything inside me turned cold. I smiled. A small, sharp smile. Then, without a word, I reached into my bag and pulled out a different envelope. "All right," I said, standing up. "Then here's my gift to you." I placed the envelope on the table. Mom hesitated before opening it. Her eyes flicked over the first few lines, and suddenly, her face turned pale. Dad snatched it from her hands, reading faster now, flipping through the pages. Daniel frowned. "What is it?" I crossed my arms. "It's the finalized contract for the sale of this house." Silence. The kind of silence that only happens when someone realizes they've just lost everything. Daniel sat up straighter. "What do you mean, sale of this house?" I shrugged. "Exactly what it says. You told me it's time I paid my debts, right? So, I did." I tilted my head. "I just didn't pay them to you." Mom's voice trembled. "Olivia, tell me this is a joke." I smiled wider. "Nope." Dad's face twisted in rage. "You can't do this." "Oh, but I can," I said sweetly. "My name is on the deed, remember? The house was put in my name for tax reasons a few years ago. You just assumed I'd never do anything about it." Daniel looked between us, realization dawning on his face. "Wait, where are we supposed to live?" I grabbed my purse, slung it over my shoulder, and headed for the door. "Not my problem." I turned back one last time, meeting my parents' stunned, panicked eyes. "Happy birthday, Daniel." And then I walked out, smiling. I didn't slam the door when I left. I didn't storm out or scream or throw things. I just walked. Calm, steady, purposeful. Because I won. Because for the first time in my life, they lost. My phone buzzed in my pocket before I even made it to my car. I didn't need to check to know it was my mother. Then another buzz. And another. By the time I slid into the driver's seat, the notifications were coming nonstop. Mom, Dad, Daniel, Aunt Linda, even Grandma. I put my phone on silent and tossed it into the passenger seat. Let them panic. They had no idea how long I had waited for this moment. How long I had planned it. 1 year earlier. Olivia, we need you to co-sign. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the house deed Dad had placed in front of me. It had been a normal Saturday morning until then, coffee, silence, a rare moment of peace before the chaos of family life. But now I was looking at the single biggest mistake my parents had ever made. Why? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Mom sighed like I was being difficult. For tax purposes, honey, it'll be easier if the house is in your name, but don't worry, we'll still be paying for everything. It's just a formality. A formality. A technicality. A trap. I knew better than to trust them. But I also knew that if I refused, they'd turn it into a guilt trip from hell. After everything we've done for you, you can't do this one little thing? Do you even care about this family? Daniel would do it in a heartbeat. So I smiled, nodded, and signed my name. And then, when they left the room, I scanned every page of that document, saved it to my personal files, and started planning. Back to now, the fallout begins. It took exactly 1 hour for the first explosion. Bang, bang, bang. The knocks on my apartment door rattled the frame. Olivia, open this door right now. Dad. I rolled my eyes, took a long sip of my coffee, and walked over at a leisurely pace. When I pulled the door open, he shoved past me like a bulldozer. What is this? He waved the sale contract in my face like it was a death certificate. Which, honestly, it was. I crossed my arms. That's your problem now. His face was red. You sold our house? I leaned against the wall, watching him unravel. No, I sold my house. He was shaking. You little. I raised a hand. Aha, careful. You're in my home now. Try to keep it civil. He sucked in a breath, nostrils flaring. Why would you do this? I tilted my head. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because my own parents handed me a $50,000 bill on my birthday while giving my brother a luxury vacation. His jaw clenched. That was different. He works so hard, deserves it, is the pride and joy of the family, blah blah blah. I finished for him. Yeah, I've heard it before. I pushed off the wall and stepped closer. You expected me to roll over and accept that debt. You thought I'd just take it like I always have. But I didn't. I flipped the script. He stared at me, breathing hard. Where are we supposed to live? I smirked. Not my problem. He pointed a finger at me. You're going to fix this. I laughed. Actually laughed. Fix this? Oh, Dad. I didn't break anything. He opened his mouth, but I was already walking to the door. You can leave now. Oh, and take this with you. I grabbed the contract from his hand, flipped to the final page, and pointed at the buyer's name. He squinted. Read it. And then his face fell. Because right there, in big, bold letters, was a name he recognized. Marcus Patel. His landlord. The guy who already owned the building where Dad's business was renting office space. The guy who, after a single phone call from me, had been thrilled to buy my childhood home at a price I knew my parents could never afford to match. Dad's voice dropped. Olivia, what did you do? I grinned. Oh, just made sure the house stayed with someone responsible. Someone who's very interested in raising your rent next month. His eyes went wide. And for the first time in my life, I watched my father panic. 1 week later, the dominoes fall. Daniel was next. He showed up at my office, storming in like a spoiled prince. You ruined my life, he snapped, slamming his hands on my desk. I didn't look up from my laptop. You'll have to be more specific. Our house is gone, Dad's business is collapsing, and Mom is losing her mind. I finally glanced at him. Again, not seeing how that's my problem. His face twisted. How can you be so heartless? I sat back, folded my arms. Oh, that's rich. Coming from the guy who watched me get an invoice for $50,000 on our birthday and left. He flinched. I didn't think they'd actually expect you to pay it. I raised an eyebrow. Wow. So you're not just selfish, you're stupid too. He turned red. I need help, Olivia. I smiled. So did I. I leaned forward. And you know what I got instead? Debt. Manipulation. Guilt trips. A lifetime of being second place to the great and mighty Daniel. He swallowed hard. Please. I don't have anywhere to go. I sighed dramatically. That sucks. His eyes were desperate now. Olivia, we're twins. You're my sister. I tilted my head. Oh, because for the last 26 years, I was nothing to you. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and patted his shoulder. Good luck, Danny. And then I walked out. Just like I walked out on my parents. Because I was done being their punching bag. It was my turn to win. The day after I kicked Daniel out of my office was quiet. Too quiet. My family was like a pack of wild animals. First, they attacked, they yelled, they made threats. But when they went silent, that's when they were at their most dangerous. I knew this wasn't over. They weren't done with me yet. And right on cue, the next morning, it happened. I pulled up to my office building, barely stepping out of my car before I saw her. Mom. She stood by the entrance, arms wrapped around herself, hair messy, face pale. She looked like she hadn't slept all night. I didn't rush to get out of the car. I just sat there, watching her through the windshield. Let her wait. When I finally stepped out, she turned toward me, desperation all over her face. Olivia, please. I stared at her, my expression blank. What are you doing here? She let out a shaky breath, stepping closer like she was trying to find some last bit of sympathy inside me. We have nowhere to go. You can't be this heartless. That house was our home. I smiled. It was your home. Now it belongs to someone else. Her breath hitched, her hands gripping my arm. Please, we're your family. We can fix this. Just give us the house back. I gently pulled my arm away. Oh, you want to fix this now? Just like you helped me when I worked 2 jobs to afford college. Just like you supported me when you handed me a $50,000 bill for my birthday. It wasn't like that. We just wanted things to be fair. I laughed, shaking my head. Fair? Was it fair that Daniel got everything handed to him while I was left to struggle? Was it fair that you never once saw me as an equal? She reached for my hand again, gripping it tighter. Your father is sick from all this stress. Daniel is depressed. We're all at our breaking point. This isn't about money anymore, Olivia. This is about family. I inhaled deeply. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, I leaned in and said, family stopped mattering the moment you decided I was just a bank account. Her lips trembled. You don't want us to end up homeless, do you? I tilted my head, voice calm and even. That's not my problem. I turned and walked into my office, not looking back. Daniel tries to play dirty. That evening, I got a notification. Daniel had tried to transfer money out of my bank account. I smirked. And here we go. He always thought I was the naive little sister, the one who wouldn't see it coming. Like I hadn't prepared for this? Over a year ago, when I started planning, I moved my real savings into secure accounts. But for fun, I left a fake account open, just in case someone tried to pull something. Did Daniel try to steal money? Yes, but not my money. His. I sat back, enjoying my tea, just as my phone started ringing. What did you do? Daniel. I put him on speaker and continued reading my emails. What's wrong, Danny? Where's my money? That was all I had. I smiled. Oh dear. That's unfortunate. I swear, I will make you regret this. I sighed. Daniel, you really thought I'd leave my accounts unprotected? That's adorable. His breathing was uneven now, anger and frustration seeping through the phone. I won't forget this. I shook my head. Neither will I. Because for the first time, I'm the one winning. I ended the call. The next morning, I woke up to a text message. Mom is in the hospital. I read it and felt nothing. No fear. No anger. No guilt. Just nothing. Then another message. Please come. We made a mistake. We'll fix this. I set my phone down and went to make coffee. I didn't reply, because I wasn't their victim anymore. Watching them fall apart. It had been 2 weeks since I sold the house. 2 weeks since I shut the door on my mother, humiliated my father, and wiped out Daniel's savings in one calculated move. And in those 2 weeks, I hadn't heard a word from them. No more desperate calls. No more guilt-tripping texts. Nothing. At first, I thought maybe, just maybe, they had finally given up. But I should have known better. Daniel's downfall. It was a Friday afternoon when my phone rang. Not from an unknown number, not from my parents, but from an old college friend, Marcus Patel. Yes, that Marcus Patel. The real estate investor who now owned my parents' house. Olivia, I have to thank you for sending that deal my way, Marcus said, his voice amused. I leaned back in my chair. Glad to hear it's working out for you. Oh, it is. But that's not why I called. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, your brother showed up at the house today. I sat up a little straighter. Did he? MHM. Acted like he still lived there. Walked in like he owned the place. You should have seen his face when my guys told him to get lost. I smirked. And what did he do? Marcus laughed. Started yelling about how this was his home and we had no right to kick him out. My guys threatened to call the cops and he left. I rolled my eyes. Classic Daniel. Oh, but it gets better, Marcus added. He's living in some rundown motel on the edge of town. Word is, he burned through his last bit of money. I couldn't stop the grin from spreading across my face. Daniel Carter. The golden boy. The favorite son. The one who never had to struggle a day in his life. Now? Flat broke. Living in a motel. Couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. Underscore 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 underscore. Mom's desperation. The next day, I stopped by my favorite coffee shop, enjoying the peace and quiet of a life without my family. But peace never lasts forever. Because as soon as I stepped outside, she was there. Mom. She looked worse than before, hair unbrushed, dark circles under her eyes, clothes wrinkled. But it was her expression that caught my attention. She wasn't angry. She wasn't furious. She was pleading. Olivia, please, just hear me out. I sighed, but didn't walk away. What do you want, Mom? She swallowed hard. Your father, he's not well. He's barely eating, barely sleeping. Everything is falling apart. We need help. I tilted my head. You mean you need money? She flinched, but didn't deny it. Just a little bit. Just enough to get back on our feet. I crossed my arms. Back on your feet? Mom, you spent years stepping on me to lift Daniel up. Where was this concern for me when I was struggling? We were trying our best, she insisted. I scoffed. No, you weren't. You just thought I'd never fight back. She wiped at her eyes. I'm begging you, Olivia. We have nothing left. I took a deep breath. For a second, just a second, I almost felt bad. But then I remembered every single time they ignored me. Every time they told me I wasn't good enough. Every time they made me feel like I was just less. And just like that, the guilt disappeared. Not my problem. I turned and walked away. And this time, she didn't follow me. Dad's collapse. A week passed. I didn't think about my family at all. Until the news broke. I was scrolling through my phone when a headline caught my eye. Local businessman David Carter faces eviction after sudden financial crisis. I clicked on the article. It was about Dad. According to the article, his business was falling apart. After the house was sold, his credit tanked. He defaulted on a few payments, lost his biggest client, and now, his office space, the same one Marcus owned, was kicking him out. I read the whole thing, then sat back in my chair. I should have felt something. But I didn't. Because after everything they put me through, after years of being treated like I was nothing, they finally got what they deserved. 3 days later, my phone rang. I let it ring. Then a text popped up. Please pick up. It's important. I sighed and finally answered. What do you want? Dad's voice came through, weak and tired. Olivia, I know we've made mistakes. But your mother and I, we're losing everything. We need your help. I said nothing. Please, sweetheart. We're still your parents. I closed my eyes, took a slow breath, and then I hung up. No words, no second chances, no mercy, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't their victim anymore. It had been exactly 1 year since I walked away. 1 year since I sold the house, since Daniel lost everything, since Mom and Dad finally faced the consequences of their choices. 1 year since I became free. And I had never been happier. A new life. I stood on the balcony of my new apartment, sipping my morning coffee, watching the sun rise over the city. Not the small, cramped apartment I had before. A real home. A place that was mine. No debts. No family draining me dry. Just peace. My phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. But something in me knew exactly who it was. I sighed and answered. Hello? A familiar voice, weak and hesitant. Olivia, it's Mom. I didn't say anything. She hesitated before speaking again. We wanted to see how you're doing. I leaned against the railing, staring at the skyline. I'm doing great. A pause. That's good to hear. I waited. I knew this wasn't just a casual call. And then, there it was. We were wondering if we could meet. Just to talk. I smiled to myself. There it is. The final attempt. Why? Mom sighed. Because we miss you, Olivia. We want to fix things. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the words settle. If they had called me a year ago, maybe, just maybe, I would have believed them. But now? Now I knew the truth. They didn't miss me. They missed what I could give them. I took a slow breath. You don't miss me, Mom. You miss what I used to do for you. That's not true. We love you. I let out a quiet laugh. You loved what I could provide. The moment I stopped being useful, I stopped being your daughter. Olivia, please. I cut her off. Do you even feel bad about what you did? Do you feel guilty for treating me like a second-class citizen in my own family? Or are you just upset that I finally fought back? Silence. That told me everything I needed to know. Goodbye, Mom. Wait. I ended the call. And then? I blocked the number. Forever. The final message. A week later, an email landed in my inbox. From Daniel. I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity won. The subject line? I'm sorry. I opened it. Olivia, I know you'll probably never forgive me. And I don't blame you. I was a terrible brother. I was selfish. I didn't see how much they were using you until it was too late. I lost everything, and honestly, I deserved it. I don't expect anything from you. I just wanted to say, I get it now. I really do. I hope you're happy. I really do. Goodbye. I stared at the screen for a long time. Daniel had never apologized for anything in his life. But did I believe him? I wasn't sure. I hovered over the reply button. Then, I closed the email and deleted it. The final goodbye. I stood on the rooftop of my building that night, looking out at the glowing city skyline. For the first time in my life, I was truly, completely free. No more guilt. No more obligations. No more family weighing me down. And as I stood there, breathing in the cool night air, I made a silent promise to myself. I would never let anyone take advantage of me again. And with that thought, I turned, walked back inside, and never looked back. Final update, responding to Reddit comments. You have questions? I have answers. So, my story blew up on Reddit. Some people cheered me on. Some called me heartless. Some had questions. Let's clear things up. Comment 1. This is fake. No way parents would be this cruel. You must have great parents. I didn't. Just because your family isn't like this doesn't mean others aren't. Comment 2. Why didn't you just say no? Selling the house was extreme. If I had just refused, they would have harassed me for years. Instead, I ended it in one move. Problem solved. Comment 3. You let them become homeless? That's cold. They weren't homeless. I sold my house, the one in my name. They had plenty of chances to fix things before it got to that point. Comment 4. Daniel's apology seemed sincere. Why didn't you reply? Because he only cared after he lost everything. He laughed when they handed me that bill. Too little, too late. Comment 5. You're an inspiration. I wish I had your courage. Thank you. If your family treats you like a resource, not a person, you have every right to walk away. You deserve better. Comment 6. What happened to them in the end? Mom and Dad rent a small apartment now. Dad's business failed. Daniel jumps between jobs. Me? I'm thriving. Comment 7. Would you ever forgive them? I don't hate them. I just don't want them in my life. Forgiveness, for me, is moving forward without them. Final thoughts. To those who supported me, thank you. To those who judged me, that's fine too. At the end of the day, I won, and I wouldn't change a thing.